For more content like tonight's episode, make sure you check out the Al Nicoletti Facebook business page, the Al Nicoletti personal page, the YouTube channel under Al Nicoletti, which has tons of content rolling out weekly, videos on probate, partitions, quiet title, and of course, all the incredible guests that have been on the Al Nicoletti Show, which you can also check out on Spotify and iTunes. All the episodes are there. You can listen in the car, on the go, wherever you are. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. That's how you're going to get the episodes. Hit the subscribe button so weekly you get the downloads and they come in. Right. Go on your phone, check it out, hit the subscribe, and you'll get all the episodes that are on the Al Nicoletti Show. And also, check out the Instagram page at Attorney Nicoletti, where you get all the micro content all the time. You'll see it be always posted out there on the Etho. So you'll see everything there. And enjoy tonight's episode with an amazing special guest that's going to bring the heat. I'm so excited. So get ready for a good one. Hey, everybody. My name is Al Nicoletti. I'm an attorney here in Florida, and welcome to the Al Nicoletti Show, where I bring on real estate super investors, rising rock stars, movers and shakers, and leaders of clubs in the community that educate, entertain, and inspire all things Florida real estate on how you could take your company to the next level. On my show, I have Joe Roig from Green Tree REI. He is a beast at the land investing game. He is awesome. He's an amazing speaker. He loves coaching. He loves being in the real estate space. And he's a heavy hitter in this Jacksonville market, and he's going hard in Florida. So he's one of those that is not just focusing in Jacks, but he's going all over. He loves the land, and I'm so happy that he's on my episode today. Everybody's so excited. I had so many people that were giving the fire emoji, the little blast. They were so excited for Joe. And as I usually do on my show, I love talking about the guests and their background, so you know a little bit more about them. Of course, Joe will dive in, but of course, we have to go through it. Joe, a.k.a. JR Real Estate, originally from Gainesville, Florida. I'm from the U, so I got to throw up the U, but he's going to talk about Gainesville, so I see him backstage. I had to say that, right? I had to throw up the U. Graduated from UNF. He's lived in Jacksonville for 7 years now. He's been doing real estate for 2.5 years so far. I don't believe that, Joe. I think you're a master at this. You could be doing this for 5-10 years. I didn't even know the difference. So 2.5 years, that's incredible. He wholesales land to builders, developers. He's got a team of 3 people. It's incredible how he's doing it, scaling his business. And he's a licensed realtor with Momentum Realty. That's the John Brooks group, that whole group that's just killing it in Jacksonville right now. And he's also a high school baseball coach for the last 5 years. I don't know how he's balancing everything. Maybe that's a really good question. How do you balance work, life, and all these other things that he's doing? And you can find him all over Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, at Green Tree REI. And on the show, I know so many of you are watching. On the show, we're going to talk about how Joe's company, Green Tree REI, has wholesaled over 100 properties in the last 21 months virtually. Virtually. The new world we're in right now, where everybody's buying property sight unseen. So he's going to tell us how you can do that also. And we're going to learn how everybody can do real estate virtually, and how Joe leverages social media to grow his brand, which brings Joe real estate deals, invites to be interviewed on podcasts, and most recently, an opportunity to speak at a live event in South Florida about flipping land later this year with over 150 people. And I personally can say I will be so excited to share that stage with you, Joe, because I'll be speaking there with you. I can't wait for that. It's going to be so fun. So let's talk about that too. And then what it's like going through hiring and delegation. And in Joe's business, it's fully automated, systemized, without Joe being even involved in anything. How are you doing this, Joe? I have no idea. And what has led Joe to start doing some consulting, coaching, speaking, and just overall giving back to the community, and what it's like growing his new skip trace company, Bunny Skip. You see, I know it. I know the Bunny Skip. I see the ads out there. So we're going to talk about that and the reason he started that, as well as the mission and the vision and where it can go. And of course, we have to talk about, and Joe, you got an audience, man. You got an audience right now watching. And what is next for Joe? We're going to dive deep. Welcome to the show, Joe Roig from Green Tree REI. Joe, so good seeing you. It's been a while. Love having you here, man.
Al, thank you. I appreciate you having me on, man. Great pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading all the show notes and I was going through everything today, and I was like, wow, in a short period of time, you have managed to really take off in the market, be big in the wholesale market with the investors, really grow your presence on Clubhouse. I know you were hosting that room. You could talk about that too. And being out there, being on social, and you're on the show, it's incredible. I love what you're doing. I can't wait to dive in. And to just tell you, I was really thinking about it today, how you and I first connected. I can't remember, but the one thing I do remember is you were awesome at business, and we got that probate deal done, and it was done. You're like, we're moving on next. So, Joe, for those that don't know who you are, please tell everybody who's Joe Roig, what's Green Tree REI, what were you doing before real estate, and what's going on today?
All right, awesome. Well, and first of all, shout out to you, Al. I remember how we met. It was at a Yellowbird event back in the day, and you did do a probate deal for me. I think in turnaround in less than 24 to 48 hours or something like that on a deal that was told couldn't be done. So just one of your success stories that I hear all over the place from different people that know you, man. So shout out to you. But yeah, my name is Joe Roig, and I've been in the investment world, the real estate world, for about 2.5 years. I actually started working for another wholesale company, Cash Geeks. I saw you had the hat behind you. Shout out to Dominic and Gonzalo for taking me under their wing and teaching me the game. And from there, I started Green Tree Real Estate Investments, and I just put my head down, running ever since. And this is where we're at today. You spoke a little bit of it, but just the growth and the branding awareness, trying to get my name out there, trying to make a strong reputation for myself. Wholesaling in the real estate world doesn't always have the most ethical connotation to it, but if you do it the right way, you can solve people's problems, and you can help create opportunities for investors. And so that's what I feel like I do, and I kind of am the bridge, the middleman, if you will, between the two. And I think there's always going to be a need for it. There's always going to be a need for people who need to sell their distressed property quickly for cash, for whatever that reason may be. And so that's kind of where I come in. And then I chose land as my niche, which is why we'll be sharing that stage in September at the land event, Wholesaling Land 101. A bunch of people go through probate, so they definitely need to hear you speak. And then there's a bunch of people who are doing 1 to 2 deals by themselves, or the partner, who are looking to scale up and hit that next level, that next tier. So that's what I have going on, man. It's super exciting, and like I said, just trying to put my head down and keep going.
Yeah, so you've done a pretty good job with that with Clubhouse, with being in the speaking world. You're going to be on stage. I can't wait to be there. I even had, when I posted the story on Facebook, I had Jared with the fire comments. And then I was talking to Tori. She's watching. Tori was like, "You're going to interview Joe tonight." I'm like, dang, you all know that I have Joe on the show. And so you're a popular figure out there, and we love it. So Joe, why don't we dive in on how you have leveraged, and I think it's important in this world we live in today, is how you have used the social media world to really grow your presence to the point where, because of Clubhouse and because of these other avenues you have used, you've now elevated yourself to be on these stages with the other wholesalers, with the other investors. Like, how have you done that? So you get the gigs, you get the speaking, and you're in the position you are.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the old saying, your network is your net worth. I just really took that to heart. And one of my goals in 2021, my New Year's resolution, whatever, was to take more stages. I had a mentor of mine tell me that that's what I need to do at this point in my career, is take more stages. And then, with COVID and everything, it's funny how Clubhouse came along, because for those of you who don't know, it's basically audio chat rooms, and it's the easiest way to explain it. And so when you get on there, you have the opportunity to say whatever you want, right? I can go on there and I can ask for help. Like, there's rooms that, teach you about real estate and so on and so forth. But really, for me, it was about branding. It was about letting everybody know what I do. You can't run a business and expect it to, fully function without, and get sales if people don't know what you do, right? And so you want to find that happy medium, like as in for Facebook, to where you're not, spamming people all day, every day, but they definitely know what it is that you do. So that when that category of real estate comes up in their head, they think of you. And so that's been a huge part of it. And then, like I said, on Clubhouse, you can go on there and you can use it to, it could be anything that you want. But for me, I get on there and I tell people who I am, what I do, how I make money, how I can make them money, and what markets that I'm in, and to reach out to me if they ever need anything and there's anything that we can ever do together. And just by extending that information, that invitation, because people are timid. Sometimes they don't think, oh, I'm not sure if I should reach out or whatever the case is. I welcome that from everybody, and it's just created so many opportunities. And with my real estate business, I do it virtually, but I do it here in Jacksonville. And then I've met people in other markets who, if I'm really good at acquisitions and they have a high volume of buyers, I'll start marketing in that market, and we'll do JV deals, and I'll be bringing in, additional income, things like that. So it's broadened my markets that I advertise in and do deals in, and the opportunity to speak at events and be on podcasts like this. It's all part of growing my brand, and you just have to let people know what it is that you do.
Yeah, and I love what you're doing on Clubhouse. Do you still have the weekly group?
I died down a little bit on the weekly group, just because I felt like I was getting away from my business. I didn't want to full on go into, it was basically free coaching, to be honest with you. There's stuff out there, there's information out there that people, charge a lot of money for. And I'm just at a point in my career where I just want to put my head down and work. So I'm always here for people who reach out to me, but I kind of slowed down a little bit on the Clubhouse weekly rooms.
So like right now, so before, what were you noticing when you were using Clubhouse like 6 months ago? And how have you shifted your social media strategy because of your business and focusing on your business? What are you doing more now to get more leads? Are you focusing on the leads? Are you focusing on brand? Like, how did you shift that strategy? Where are you at now?
Yeah, so I think it's all about relationships, right? So I have strong relationships with my buyers, that are my investors that are looking for properties, builders who are looking for land to build homes, and I've sent them properties over time. We've negotiated deals, we've benefited each other so many times over. I've sent them properties at at reasonable prices. There's a lot of people who do what I do and just send out properties at crazy prices, and that's your reputation out there. So I've built a strong reputation and strong relationships with those end buyers. And so again, they bring me deals, they bring me opportunities. So before, it was like I'm marketing, spending all these marketing dollars blindly on myself. And now I have people tell me, hey Joe, I'm looking, if you can find this type of property or this type of land in this area, this is how much I can pay, and I'll pay it all day. And it makes my business a lot easier. And it just continues to grow. If somebody knows somebody that I can help, and I always tell people, whatever they bring me real estate, because like you said, I'm a licensed agent. I'm an investor. I know how to do creative deals, subject to, I've done flips. So anytime someone brings me a property, I'm able to have an exit strategy for it myself, or I know someone who can. I know someone to call. Someone brings me a probate, I'm not going to tell them, oh, that's not exactly what I do, have a great day. You know what I mean? I'm going to connect them with you, Al, and in turn, that's going to come around. It might be 3 months, 6 months, 2.5 years. That's going to turn around to where you have an opportunity that you bring me, and that's what I've been trying to do. That's why I've stayed in Jacksonville this long. I wanted to travel, but I've just been building those relationships on and off social media, because we did have a few in-person events where I try to meet people and shake hands and stuff like that. But it's the relationship, it's the people, man. It's a people business, even though I do it virtually.
You may be doing it virtually, but you're connecting with Derby and Jared, who are in that Clearwater market, right? So you're not even just focusing, and she's watching, I see you. She's watching everything that's happening with what you're doing, and they're hosting that huge, she's saying hello, she's backstage. I love it. And she's going to be at the event, Jared and her hosting that big event in Fort Lauderdale. And building relationships like that around the state has been so important. I can relate to everything you're saying because for us in 2019, it was Jax, and it still is Jax, but it's growth. I mean, I would if but for COVID and the whole pandemic, I would have never connected with Jared and Derby and everybody, even Tori, on virtual deals. They're all watching. So incredible that it's all about relationships. Everything's about that. So, with that all said, and with the way that the market's been moving, because I want to get your take on the hot market too, uh, how have you wholesaled over 100 properties in the last 21 months doing everything virtually? What are you doing?
Absolutely, absolutely, and shout out to Derby and Jared as well. So, what I've been doing is systems, processes, and automation. So, when I first started this, it was pen and pad, right? And I think it was probably 8 or 10 deals where I was like, "This is out of control," and plus all the deals you're following up with. Um, and again, I had learned from Dom and Gonzalo, the way that their deal flow went, and just everything was accounted for. So that's really the key, man. Anytime someone asks me how do I do it? How do you get 100 deals? I stuck to my strengths. I hired my weaknesses out, or delegated those to my team, and we all worked together to kind of make best use of our time to have the deal flow and go through the sales funnel, and keep our pipeline full. We average about 5 deals a month, and you really can, get comfortable. You start having, make exceeding your goals. Your monthly net profit keeps growing, and you decide to reinvest that money, to grow, to scale. But yeah, man.
I remember, Joe, and I don't know if it was in a clubhouse room. It had to be a clubhouse room. That you were talking about really trying to get over that hump of and scaling your business and scaling what you're doing every year. And how I remember I commented, I shot you a message after, and you were like, you did these figures in that year, and you're like, it's okay. And I'm like, man, if you're doing that this year, can you imagine what you're going to do next year and the year after? So, what steps have you done to overcome those obstacles keeping you from scaling? And what are you doing to help scale your business more, especially virtual dealing, virtual wholesaling in Florida? I'm sure because of us, we're young, we know how to use these apps and stuff, but how are you making it and hitting and getting more strides in what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I think year one in the business, it was a lot of trial and error, right? Like I wanted to see what worked, and I was tracking everything. So we were mainly doing strictly cold calling, right? And I had a team of cold callers, and they brought me a lot of deals, But what I realized when I started doing direct mail postcards, and I started having similar success. And then on Clubhouse, I started talking to people who have been there before me, right? Like I'd be naive not to listen to people who were in my footsteps in the past. So what I learned from those people is that it's really a combination of being where I want to be in the business. It's a combination of several campaigns going at once. And it goes back to what I was saying about, not getting comfortable and not slowing down because you had a big month, or what the case may be. So, at one given month, I will have a cold caller calling 30 hours a week. I will have send out about 1,000 postcards every week. And then once a quarter, I do an SMS text campaign. And once a quarter, I do a ringless voicemail RVM campaign. So people respond differently to different types of marketing. So there could be someone who wants to sell their house quickly for a discount, but they aren't, they don't answer. They have a flip phone that doesn't ring, or whatever the case is. They don't answer phone. They don't answer numbers they don't know, right? But when I see a piece of mail come directed to them with my company phone number, website, whatever credibility, whatever, and then they reach out to me. Or, some people go on the website. I have a QR code people can scan or whatever it is. So that's really what I learned, Al, is like you have to reach people in the ways they want to be reached. And so I spend money to do that, but in turn, I'm reaching a broader audience. I'm getting more leads for myself, potential leads to turn into closings.
Yeah, I noticed you did a rebrand a little last year, I think, with the logos, the JR, because I think for a long time, weren't you just like the Green Tree REI, but then you started doing the JR, then you started promoting that brand on the Clubhouse. So you were really pushing that authenticity. And I'm sure that really helped drive more traffic for you with sellers and people that wanted to sell the properties. And so that probably helped as well. Having image and presence is so important in your business. You can't just be like hey, I buy houses. Like, no, you actually have to have that image. And so I think you did that.
Definitely. Yeah, that was my goal, man. That was my goal, to get the brand out there, to put a face to the brand, and so that it can be, local, trusted home buyer, and that's the reputation I'm trying to continue to work on.
Yeah, and I just want to make a note, Joe. So for the first time, I don't think I've ever seen it before, but on the platform we use for the virtual, it said the room is full. And I mean, that's awesome. You have people watching in the Restream app that are watching you right now. The room is full. The room is packed. You got a packed house on us, Joe. So good job to you. And anybody that has questions out there for Joe, feel free to ask. Drop them in. Joe's already got some comments. He's got one from Dre that says Joe, and then Andy's like, yo. I mean, you got people that are following you, that love you, Joe, that are out there watching you. So Dre and Andy, if you have any questions for Joe while we're live, make sure you drop it in. And Joe, one of the most important things you can do in your business isn't just all the marketing, isn't all the mailers and the branding, but it's hiring, right? They don't teach you this in school. They don't teach you like how to hire, who to look for, and you really have to be on your feet, right? So I understand it just like you do. There's a difference between being an employee and being an entrepreneur. You know what you want. So for your business, you have to hire the right people that fit your system. So you have to work and figure that out. So what is it like going through hiring and delegation in your business so you make it fully automated, systemized, and you don't have to be involved? I'd love to know that because it's hard for me not to be fully involved in everything. I have to be.
Yeah. No, definitely, and I still am to a certain extent. But to answer your question, I mean, the way that I hire, it's extremely lengthy process. I'm looking. I won't settle for anyone. It's just not something where turnover can be accepted or tolerated, to be honest with you. Like anytime that I have to hire, train, and I've created a lot of SOPs and recorded videos and things like that, so that I don't have to do those things over and over again. But to a certain extent, I do give them my time. We have a lot of calls back and forth, but I just try to find people who fit the culture, who have the same, vision and goals that I do. I ask them about their personal life, about their families. I want to know who they are as a person and their character, and just, what they would do in certain situations. Are they ethical? Can they think on their feet? Do they have kind of like a, you know, can they express compassion, right? Because we have a lot of virtual assistants, and anyone out there who owns property, they probably are shaking their head at me because they get these calls every single day of hey, do you want to sell your property? But what I do is I try to find someone who's going to be the least likely to get hung up on the other end, right? The beginning of the phone call is the hardest part, and so I teach them rebuttals, I teach them how to combat that. And I just want to make sure that they're there long term. Like I said, I'm not looking to hire someone who's going to be turnover. Like I've had my VA she's been with me almost since the beginning of the company, so over 2 years. And I treat her very well. When the company does great, I reward her in return, and she works hard, and every day is coming up with ideas to better automate and increase our bottom line. So as long as she always does that, she's always going to be part of the team. But yeah, I just have a lengthy hiring process, and I try to find people that I can trust when I'm not there, like you said. So the way that it works is it's basically all acquisitions, as far as the marketing and speaking with the property owners. And then every morning I wake up to my email and my CRM with several leads. And so I'll check them out. I'll do comps on them. Lots of times I'm familiar with the area, so I'll know right away if it's a deal or not. See what they're asking for, the condition, and then I will call those people back, or email them back, whatever their preference was of communication was. And so for me, that is very hard to delegate. That's what I'm going through. That when you asked earlier, what is something that can get me to the next level? Every time that I'm on the phone with the seller, getting a contract, is time that I could be spending, investing in the business in other ways, and buying back my time in other ways. So that's where I'm at right now. But I actually am onboarding somebody as we speak, because I'm looking to run several campaigns at one time. And so just went through the onboarding process today, and the training, and getting them all set up and all that good stuff. So you try to do it so that you don't have to do it anymore, and find good people who will last, and just treat them right. And if you do, they should stay.
So you said you have a lengthy hiring process. Can you tell us like what that like looks like? How intensive is it? Like, what are you doing? Is it a series of questions? Is it like a series of interviews? What are you doing?
Yeah, so we post ads out, and then we have very specific ask in the ad. So it says to send a video clip or audio clip of 60 seconds, telling about yourself and why you'd be a good fit for the company. And it says you will not be considered if you do not send this along with your resume. So anybody who just sends me their resume, I don't even open it, because it doesn't have the audio clip there. So that's number one. And then two is if they look promising, we'll set them up with an interview with my virtual assistant Kim, and she does all the typical interview questions of kind of getting to see if they would be a good fit, because even if they really really want the job, you want it to be the right fit for them, just to not waste either each other's time. So they'll have an interview with Kim, and then after that, she'll give me the feedback. I'll look over everything, and then I kind of get on a call with them, and they think it's a second interview, but really what I'm doing is trying to get them to say that they don't want to work with me. Like I just show them all the bad, the ugly, the gruesome, tell them how repetitive the job can be. You're calling people all day, every day. You're going to be getting cussed out. People are rude. People are, in the middle of stuff. People are at work. You have to have thick skin. And so I try to scare them off, basically. And if they don't make it past that call, I'm like, man, good. Like I really saved a lot of time. But anybody who is thick skinned and can kind of maneuver through that call, then I will actually go ahead and explain all the ins and outs of the company, of what we do, why we do it, why we're different from the other companies that are out there, and then the potential that they can have with working with my company, and kind of show them what they can achieve with me, because I left a dead end job to be an entrepreneur. And so anybody who ever works for me, like there is no cap on their bonus potential. Like there is no ceiling. So as long as they're bringing in hot leads that convert to sales, I will always reward them in return.
Yeah, it's nice to be with a company where there's room and growth to keep going, to keep scaling with the company. But I can tell you, Joe, and I know you can relate to this. It is really hard to hire, right? Especially in the market, it's really hard to find the right fit. So, one of the best things that they can do is actually show up, right? So that's like number one. If you show up, you're like halfway there. And because I've seen so many no shows. They say, "Hey, we're interested," and there's no shows. But yeah, fitting your style is important. They have to know up front, and you have to know up front that you're going to let them know this is what you're going to do. This is the day in, day out. When you get up, this is what's happening. Whether it involves weekends, but it's got to be a rigorous system, and you got to automate it. I'm big on that, and I know you are too. I know you love that. Is finding that rhythm that you can systemize it, automate it, and of course, monetize it. You can't just do your thing without monetizing it. So Incredible that you do that kind of hiring system. I heard one guy one time, he said any applicant had to send like a 2-minute video straight up. And if they didn't do the 2-minute video, they were automatically out. Then they had to take a test. And if they didn't even read the test or do the test, automatically out and showing up. So I get it. I understand what you do. It's amazing. Anybody that has questions out there for Joe, we're watching right now. I'm looking. So if you have questions for Joe and what he's doing in his business, feel free to drop it in. We'll ask it live. We're live with Joe Roig. Joe, so you're not only just doing real estate, you're doing the speaking at the big events, you're on the shows, you're on some of these podcasts. But what has really led you to doing this consulting, doing the coaching, doing the speaking, and all of the giving back? Like, what has gotten you to that point of doing this? Because it takes that ability to really say, I need to commit the time and the investment to doing this, and the coaching and mentoring, right? Mentoring, you could be on a call for hours. So how have you gotten here?
Man, I think what it really comes down to is like I hated all of the misinformation that was out there, and the people who had the grind and the dedication, and they just were missing that one little piece, because that's how I was, right? And I felt like when you try to learn about wholesaling, YouTube University, all the gurus on social media, they tell you everything, just enough information to get you super stoked and amped up about wholesaling. Like, wow, like I can flip properties with no money. This is what I'm about to do. Like, I'm about to quit my job and go ahead full speed. And kudos and shout out to anybody who does that, because that is, in itself, a huge uh, depiction of your character. But I just think that I wanted to, Dom Gonzalo, taught me everything, and I got to learn while I earn. That's the best. That's the earn while I learn. Excuse me. That was the coolest thing, right? It's like I'm exposed to this new world. I'm put in this brand new position. I'm crushing it, and I'm making money. There's nothing really better than that than I can think of. But like I said, I just want people to, there was just people who were just missing that one little thing. And I feel like, hey, if I can get on a phone call with somebody for 10-15 minutes, and it can be a game changer between them, like giving up on a deal and making $5,000-$10,000 on a deal because they didn't, know about something they didn't know about Al Nicoletti that could save their deal that was in probate, that, they threw away or didn't go forward on. So, that's why that's kind of I wanted to give back. And there's, of course, there's that, happy medium, like you said, where I can't be on the phone for hours every single day because I run my business. But it is like a good feeling to be able to help people out and then come back and say, hey, that information that you gave me helped me close a deal, or got me to the next level. And that's why I do it, man. It's probably the same reason why I coach baseball, is because I see potential in people that maybe they don't even see. And I could try to bring the best out of them.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Joe. I mean, kudos to you for doing that. Like, it must be a lot just doing the investing side, the mentoring side, and also being a part of the team at the baseball team. How are you balancing that whole work life fun, that whole spectrum, and making sure you keep it going, you don't get burnout? That's a big thing, right? Everybody starts back up in January, after being on a break for 2 months, and that's two from Halloween on. And then they start from January on, and then they get to like August, and all of a sudden they're just like burnt out a little bit. How are you keeping that balance? Are you, traveling? Are you doing reading books and doing seminars, like reading up on this stuff? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so I think that that has to do with the alternative, right? So staying super busy and being overwhelmed and going from one thing to the other thing, it's like, damn, like, is this a life that I want to have? But I tried the alternative, right? Like, you have a really good month and you're like, well, I'm going to go on vacation, or you might not even be vacation. You might just, some people think that the ultimate goal is to do nothing, right? Like to enjoy their free time 100%, just chill, right? And doing that drives me crazy. Like doing that, I'm like, it's just like I feel worthless, I feel useless, and I feel like we have purpose to be on this earth. And I just don't want to waste that away. So anytime that I get, like I said, overwhelmed or I'm like tired or whatever, I just think about the alternative. I'm like, well, at least I'm not, bumming it. Even if my bank account is fine. Like I never want to bum it. And I think like the R&R that you're talking about, like how that I kind of let loose is through baseball, through coaching. I don't feel like I'm working when I'm out there. That's my passion. And I take walks on the beach and go for runs and work out. And those are the things that, and I do them in the middle of the day, and I do that on purpose because it makes me feel free. It makes me, that's why I got into entrepreneurship. It's so that I don't have to ask anyone for permission, and I can make my own schedule. And with that, I want to pack up my schedule with activities that are going to bring me money and that are going to bring me joy. And then the rest of the time should be helping other people and filling that time with giving back and sharing what I know. There's no reason to keep it all to myself.
Giving back to everybody. It's that feeling of feeling unemployable, right? Now you can't work for anybody else but yourself. And then you look at the alternative and you're like, no way. I love the freedom, but there's also a lot of work and responsibility that comes with being on top of your stuff every day. And it teaches you new mindset. I think being an entrepreneur and actually having your own business and moving it and running it along teaches you like how to organize yourself and how to make sure you do this on this time, you check your emails at this time, you make sure you have that work life balance. It's a tough gig, but if you can do it and you can figure out the rhythm, you won't burn out, you'll be good. And it's amazing. And let's not forget, Joe, so the baseball, the real estate, the speaking, and all of this, bunny skip. And you still got the skip tracing software company that you run. That's incredible. I know you've been pushing it out. You got great rates out there. I see people that are loving bunny skip. You're doing your sponsored ads everywhere. So now you have that other side of the business. So what's it like growing bunny skip and the skip trace company? And why did you even start it? Like, what's the mission? What's the vision? How did it all begin?
No, definitely. I appreciate that. And I want to start by saying, Bunny, I'm not the owner and founder of Bunny Skip. I'm promoter of Bunny Skip, but it's actually my business partner, Ali Shima. And, she's a data genius. She's been working with data, pulling lists and organizing skip tracing for like 5 years. And when we started Green Tree, 2.5 years ago, we were frustrated with the data companies out there because there's not really one great company out there that's going to give you perfect results every single time, right? And I think that's one thing that's important for new investors to understand, and anyone else who might be frustrated with their data out there. However, there's definitely a correlation or difference between good data, quality data, cheap data, and not so much in terms to its cost, but really in terms of quality, right? And so the idea of wholesaling, the very first step is getting in contact with the property owner. If you don't have that, you have no sales funnel at all. That is the beginning of the whole process. So it's the most important. And we were unhappy again, and so we did test lists against all the most popular companies out there. And we basically saw who would be able to bring us the best results. And the way that Ali does skip tracing, she basically found a hack that gets us better results than all of those companies combined and more of a chance to get in contact with the homeowner. So you're going to receive more phone numbers and better odds of getting that person on the other end of the phone. And it's complementary to the wholesale business. It's not something I think that is going to be a super crazy huge business. But not only is it something that we were able to put together and profit from, but we're also helping other investors out there like myself. Like, these companies aren't dialing the data that they're providing, right? So they don't really actually know how good it is. I dial my own data, so I know exactly what I'm going to get. We have I have other investors who are affiliates with us because they're doing large batch skip tracing list every single month, and they wouldn't be coming back to us every single month and referring people out to us if they weren't getting deals from our data. So Bunny Skip, again, shout out to Allie. It's bunnyskip.com, and she did it to help investors out, and we did it because there is a need for it, and we're saving you time and money. That's, I think, the biggest thing. Like, I tell people to give us test lists all the time. Send a list to your favorite company and send a list to us and compare the results. And more likely 9 times out of 10, we've already tested against that company, and we're going to give you all the numbers that they're going to give you, plus more, better chance to reach the homeowner. So, and we do it at a fair price because I'm an investor, and I know that I don't want to be paying too much for data. Try to keep overhead low. I'm trying to grow my team scale as big as I can while keeping my costs as low as possible.
Yeah, I even remember I reached out to you. I was like, do you all pull like death certificates and stuff? Because I was ready to go full blow, with the bunny skip. But
that's a little harder. Yeah, those are a little harder.
Yeah, those are harder. But yeah, you should see what they're like. Finding a 1958 death certificate is insane. But tell us, Joe, like, what are these services that you all can provide? Like, because there's investors watching, there's realtors watching, there's people that are going to listen, that get in this business and say, hey, I got this list, I got this data, and I don't know what to do with it. I know there's tons of people that own real estate, have gone through the roles. Like, what are each of the services that you can all help with so you can get to that seller or get to that LLC, whoever it is?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. So one thing that we are really good at that I found was kind of a hole in the market was skip tracing LLCs and any type of corporations. So that was something that's huge. And the other thing too is that you're calling business owners, right? So you're speaking to intelligent individuals on the other end of the phone. They're ready to do business. They're not going to beat around the bush and waste your time like many of just every average day people that we speak to. So that's one thing I like about that. But yeah, any investors out there, you buy lists from wherever. I mean, there's a plethora of platforms to buy lists from. There's free lists. I know a lot of people pull from Prop Streams, a popular one. I don't even care to name any, but the best list that you can get is to go directly to your property appraiser, to your county tax assessor, and if that information is updated, that's going to be if you can web scrape that, that's going to be your most accurate, up to date data. But wherever you get your list from, if you buy you need batch skip tracing. You bring it to Bunny Skip and upload your list. We go through it, we organize it, we remove duplicates, and we only charge you for the leads that come back. So you only charge per hit, and we do have a minimum of 1,000 leads. So it's more for batch skip tracing. It's not really for one-offs or smaller lists. So we try to appeal to investors who are doing a little bit of volume. And yeah, I mean, I think again, it's all Allie. She's the brains behind the operation. I make the phone calls. I stay off the computer as much as I can. All the automation, I really have to give kudos to her on all the computer stuff. The integration is really what keeps my business going. Like every button clicks, it leads to the next task, or the next part in the deal flow of the process. So yeah, shout out to Allie and to Bunny Skip, and any investor who has a list out there and who's looking to reach more sellers. Definitely give us a try.
And I can say, from seeing all the probates that come through and how many of the investors will find that one that they have 4 people that they need to find, and they got 3, but they're missing the last one, and they're either in prison or they're out of state, they're somewhere in a foreign country and you can't find them. I understand the use of the skip tracing company. And Joe, I mean, there's skip tracing out there that, like, it blows your mind. Like, how did you even find that? And so I'm sure many know this, but if you don't know, this can be a critical piece to your puzzle if you're trying to scale your business in real estate, especially when you find these weird, nasty deals in probate, or you finding 7 people. So reach out to Allie, right? Reach out to Allie and Joe. We'll put Joe your email, how to connect with you, Facebook, Instagram. We got to have that YouTube channel too, Joe. But we'll get there. But it's amazing what you're doing, and we got tons of shout outs. Tim Horvath, Tim, so glad you're watching. Tim's watching us right now, and then Jared's loving the fire. So this has been great. Joe, in your notes that I saw, I thought it was very interesting. You have some interesting stories that you've been through in the last couple of years. The Super Bowl one, the Black Friday one, some of these deals off Facebook. I mean, let's start with the one with the Super Bowl where you got a deal signed in the first quarter of a 2020 Super Bowl outside the stadium.
Yeah, yeah. So I was at a sports bar outside the stadium. The game was just about to start, and I was in Tampa, and I had to step out because my phone was ringing, and I recognized the phone number, and it was a seller that I'd followed up with 3 or 4 times, and I remembered that we were right on the brink of the yes or no. And so I stepped outside, which I thought would be less loud, but it was just as loud. And I'm holding my, finger to my ear, trying to hear him. And he asked me 2 or 3 questions, and then he said that he was ready to go, and I had to walk him through how to work the DocuSign and get on his email and stuff. But then I asked him, I was like, are you watching the Super Bowl? He's like, oh yeah, it's tonight, isn't it? So he didn't even know it was going on. But I thought that was really cool because I walked back into the sports bar and celebrated with all our friends that I just wasn't expecting it. Those are some of the best things. Those are the best parts about being an investor, an entrepreneur, and automating your business is that it can you can get deals anytime.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, you're doing this while you're having fun, right?
Yeah.
You could be on a weekend trip, you could be somewhere, and you're going to answer the phone. That's the difference, because if you don't, he may go somewhere else.
Right.
So what you did,
Definitely.
that's crazy. And what about this Black Friday deal?
Yeah, so that was actually I think that was might have been 3 years ago when I was with Cash Geeks, and it had been a seller that had actually told me no, and I'd set for a future follow up. I tried a couple more times, and still was a no, and then so I set him for a future follow up, and got a text on Black Friday, and it said Black Friday special, and he wanted, I think, a couple grand more than my offer was, and the deal still worked. And so we sent the contract out. Everything is virtual, so that was super cool sharing that one with Dom and G. That was their lead, and it was just cool because you weren't expecting it. The office is shut down. We're not calling. You just don't expect to get a deal that day, and so that one was super cool. Black Friday, yeah, I haven't got any other holidays, but that one, I mean, it's the holiday for discounts, right?
It is. And some reason, like during the holidays, for me at least, that's when everybody calls. Like as soon as like it's like a holiday or a vacation or Christmas, like last year, it's like everybody wants to get the deal done before the end of the year and just get it closed. So that's crazy that happens on that kind of holiday, like a Christmas or a Thanksgiving, right?
Right.
That's crazy. And you look like you're the follow-up king here. There's a deal that you said 70 phone calls later, 50 emails later, you closed a development deal where you followed up with the seller consistently for over a year.
Yeah, yeah, that one was a tough one to crack. She was a tough cookie. But I think, there was a point where I thought that just my persistence would pay off. And then I'm not gonna lie, there was a part where I was like, man, like maybe it's not going to, but there was that point where I just put in so much work already that was like, what was it to reach out, one more time or whatever. But yeah, I tried every single sales tactic I've ever learned with this seller. Every single rebuttal that you could possibly have, she had it. Every possible concern, every line of the agreement, just family members involved, attorneys involved. There was emotional attachment because her family had owned the property for over 100 years. Her aunt owned the property next to her. She was ready to sell. Then, of course, we're negotiating price. And while all this is happening, over time, I actually ended up acquiring the piece of land next to this, which was kind of like a larger L shape that ran behind it and next to it. And that property, the two developers ended up teaming up, and they're gonna make like a little neighborhood with like 16 homes or something like that. So it actually, turned out for being just like a regular type deal to being a large development deal that I'm actually working with the developers on the back end. So I should be seeing some fruits from that like in about a year from now, which is one of the first times that I structured my deal a little differently, because wholesaling, it's awesome when you can be consistent and bring in large assignment fees, but you're always still working for that next deal. So anytime that you can find a way to get some passive income, or this is like a long term investment where I might have maybe took a little bit less on the deal to make a little bit more down the road. So that one was super cool. But yeah, and you know what? It's 70 phone calls. There's like 50 what was it, emails. I didn't even put the text on there, man. There had to be like over 100 texts with the seller as well. And then her daughter ended up getting involved, and crazy deal. But yeah, a year long, and a lot of follow up, but it paid off.
That'd be a good question in your interview. How many times would you email that seller and call that seller if it took to get the deal? And if they said 10, you're like, nah. If they said 100, no matter what, you're like, you're in. That's it. That's the person I'm looking for, because you're going to get that deal no matter what it takes. You're going to, like you, Joe, that's your style. You're going to keep going, keep going. That's like Mike McKay that was on my show. He said he'd rather lose a deal because he followed up too much than not follow up at all and then lose the deal to some other guy. So, I mean, like what you did, that was huge. And Tori loves it. She said that's amazing goal. So, I mean, what you're doing is huge. And I see you, Gina. Gina's watching. She loves seeing all the investors and what they do. And it's incredible when you can see an investor that follows up on a deal from time to time and just get it. And Derby's watching. I saw her backstage. She was like really watching the show. She loves watching you, Joe. So you got quite an audience tonight. I love it, man. This is great.
And shout out to everybody. Thank you guys so much. I mean, I was going to say this. Yeah, I wanted to say this at some point, is that like where I'm at today, there's no way I couldn't have done it with, well, all the people that, have helped me along the way. Like, I'm not the type of person that, when you see that went from 0 to 100 deals, that's 0 to 100 deals with 12 different mentors and people giving me guidance and wisdom along the way, and different partnerships, and hours and hours of phone calls from people in Jacksonville and people all over that I've met that have poured into me, and I owe it to them. And like, there's no way. And then my team, of course, Ali and Kim, and it's a team effort, and I get to take the glory and be on here in the show with you. But yeah, man, just shout out to everybody who's ever supported me, or as is in the Jacksonville area that I can connect with and help some way. I'd love to meet you and do business possibly. So
Look at that. Everybody can reach out to Joe. We'll keep putting all the stuff up there. And Joe, on my shelf, I got the geeks. And you know who just made a comment? It was Dom. Dom said Joe's a mega badass. So how do you like that? The geeks are watching you tonight. So yeah, Dom, you're out there. Make sure you drop another comment there, Dom. We just hard promoted the geeks tonight. So also Derby, she's like, Joe is the GOAT, greatest of all time. So look at that. You have huge fans out there. And Joe, before we get off the show, I have to know, what's Joe Roig's plan? What's the next year look like? What's the next 5 years look like? What's next for you, Joe?
Yeah, so you're catching me right in the middle of it. I'm like I said, I'm in the middle of onboarding a cold caller right now. I'm gonna get I'm gonna eventually have 3 cold callers. I'm gonna have 2 acquisition closers to replace myself, and then the marketing is just gonna be on fire. I'm going to any market that is serious buyers who are looking for a high volume, I will campaign there, and I will find you deals. That's what I do, and that's what I'm good at. So anyone who's looking, reach out to me and let me know your criteria. And I'm just going to keep putting my head down and working hard and see where this thing takes me. As far as, my goals, it's not so much to get to that 200 deals or any metric that is like that. It's more so, the quality of the deal, the person that I'm helping, what's the situation, and how can I use my real estate expertise, to find an exit strategy. But it's also just putting your head down and going forward. Like it's not getting to 200 deals. It's how can I make more deals, larger spread, larger profits, while keeping my overhead low, keeping my team happy and fed, and wanting to come back, wanting to give back to the company. Because when you have that from your employees, like I have Kim all the time making suggestions to how we can make things better and make more money. And I'm like, dang, why didn't I think of that? And so putting people in place to do that, that's where it's going to get me to the next level. And like I said, I don't have an amount of deals or anything like that, but I want to help more people, and I want to automate my business so that I can do so even better, to a higher capacity, and then to buy back my time, which, I'm not reinventing the wheel. It's just my time to realize that that's the ultimate goal in entrepreneurship, is to buy back my time, to exchange out those dollar per hour activities that somebody else really should be doing, that I can put, my talents and efforts towards bigger projects and larger things, like you were talking about with the coaching and consulting and the skip tracing, as well as doing different events and giving back to the community. So
Yeah, finding your strong suits, and you want to play to your strengths, and you want to go in that direction. You don't want to start and keep doing everything, and then it's going to be a crazy fest. But you find those strong suits and you hire out, you delegate. And I love what you're doing by doing that. That's going to help your business grow, and you're going to scale. And naturally, by doing the market and branding that you're doing, those are going to funnel leads in for you, and it's just going to be great. And of course, with this whole bunny skip too, I mean, you have all of these potential resources out there, these tools that you can get in touch with Joe about, that can help scale your business as well. Because skip tracing, especially in my world, skip tracing is huge, and you gotta have that as a tool so you can get to those sellers and find them, so you get the deal done. And having amazing title companies out there is huge. I see Gina's watching. Gina does all that stuff for the investors. So you got to have all of those pieces in place, and it's amazing. Even Joe, not Joe, Dre said, "My man Joe is on fire tonight." So Joe, you got the whole house. It's amazing. I love it, and I love what you're doing, and I think you keep going with what you're doing, and I love seeing it. And you're on the show, and I can't wait to share the stage with you in September when you lay it down before 150 people. Shout out to Derby. Jared, I know you both are out there. We can't wait to be there. It's going to be awesome. And before we wrap it up, Joe, any final thoughts, final words? We got all your stuff on the bottom. We got everything there for people to see. Get in touch with Joe. Reach out to him. Send him a message. Get him on Instagram. He's big on Instagram. I was like really shocked you're big on that. But yeah, get in touch with Joe. So final thoughts.
Man, just thank you so much, Al, for having me, man. I think our friendship and our business partnership is extremely genuine from the first day that I met you. I love when I am either in Clubhouse or whatever, and I hear people that's even in different cities in Florida, different states, and I'll hear someone talking about probate even before I can let them know, somebody else recommends you, and I'm like, yes, this is awesome. This is what it's all about. Getting people to the right people. So I just want to say thank you. And I commend you for everything that you're doing, all the hard work that you're doing, your social media posts, your brand, and your show that we're on. right now, man. I just want to say, kudos to you and congratulations on all your success and everything. You're going to do huge, huge, big, big things. I know this is just the beginning for you, just like it is for me, man. But now, my last thing I would just say, man, is I get asked a lot of times that like, what is the number one thing or whatever. And when I got into this business, it was my plan A, and to become to have a successful wholesale company and never miss a paycheck to any of my employees, and to never have a boss ever again. And there was no plan B. So that's really, it might be poor advice for some people out there, but that is my advice. Just, don't have a plan B. Plan B is that plan A cannot fail. And that's what's gotten me to where I'm at today. That's what continues to drive me, along with my faith and my family, and all the support from other investors and people out there who are looking to get into the business. So that's all I got, man. But thank you so much for having me on, Al. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I loved having you, Joe. You dropped some gems. You dropped a lot of great value and content for people out there. And you keep doing what you're doing, and you're an inspiration to others that are just trying to get in the business, or they're stuck in the business. They could be seasoned, have stopped for a while, and then all of a sudden they got to get their gears back. So love it. Love seeing what you're doing. I love all the social presence and speaking. Also, Derby posted the fact that there's going to be the Wholesaling Land 101 seminar.com. So you go to www.wholesalingland101seminar.com. That's where Joe and I are speaking in September. We're going to love it. And Joe, I'll see you there. It's going to be great seeing you. And we'll get that dinner after with everybody. It'll be a lot of fun.
Definitely, man. Yeah, September 25th, Wholesaling Land 101. I can't wait to see you there, Al.
Can't wait, Joe. Thanks so much. All right, everybody, if you want more content like this, make sure you check out the Al Nicoletti Facebook business page, the Al Nicoletti Facebook personal page, and also check out all the amazing episodes on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Amazing guests like Joe Roig from Green Tree REI, amazing guests that have been on the Al Nicoletti Show, dropping so much real estate content, gems, and content for you out there that can help scale your business to the next level. Whether it's title, whether it's investing, or whether it's real estate adjacent with staging and things with Airbnb, there's all the content out there for you watching. And make sure you tune in next week. The Al Nicoletti Show is live next week also. And I will see you next time on the Al Nicoletti Show. Take care.